It's got the biggest motors I've ever seen on a micro. Let's see how it goes. G'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today, well, it's time for the part 2 review of the GepRC, the Sparrow from GepRC. If you haven't seen my part 1 review, go check this link out there, but that's where we went through the nitty gritty, all the components, all that sort of jazz. But now it's time for the fun part. We're going to take it out to the field, rip it around. Of course, it doesn't carry a GoPro, so I'll show you some DVR footage. We'll hand over to Grumpy Trev and see what he thinks about it as well, or Crash Test Cal. Whoever's out there, we'll go out, have a good time, rip this thing around. And it might be great for those people who are out there, they've got some 5 inches and they're thinking, Stuart, what's the right 3 inch? I want a good 3 inch that flies pretty well. And this thing, I'm liking the motors, I'm hoping it does a good job, so I'm pretty excited. Let's waste no time and find out, should we get the Sparrow, or is it give it a bit of a miss? Alright, let's do it in 3, 2, 1.
Rightio, out here in the field, about to rip it around with the Sparrow. Of course, we're not going to be rocking any HD or anything like that, just some DVR, but look, I've heard a lot of people saying good things about this, so we'll rip it around, show you guys the DVR, then we're also going to hand it over to Crash Test Cal, let him rip it around as well, and share some love for Grumpy Trev, because look, he's not here today, he's a little bit busy, so yeah, he's just going to have to suffer and watch this video. Alright, let's do it. Okie dokie, here we go, on board with some DVR, of course, no GoPro, and I really like this little start. So sort of, there's Jono flying around, he's on a 5 inch, and we have a very, very close call. So a nice bit of video, boop, right there, very close to him. So as you can see, this is one of its maiden flight. This actually is the maiden flight, and it is a very zippy. So a little bit of a punch there. In a moment we will be flying around on the track, giving it a bit of stick though, and it turns very well, and it's very, very quick. Especially I think these motors are helping it. Look at that. I mean, if you wanted to do a little bit of acro, get some hang time with a tiny little 3 inch, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, what I want to do, let's get the cons out of the way, because there's a lot of pros we're going to talk about in a little bit. But con number 1, look, it doesn't have an OSD. Yes, you could add one in, and I'll put a link down below for like the camera. I'd probably replace it with very, very same size. That'd be plug and play. But it doesn't have an OSD, so that part's a little bit annoying. And I guess coming out of a dive, sometimes when you're really close to the ground, it doesn't feel like it has that big uplifting gust or power that a 5 inch or a 6 inch has. But look, this thing's absolutely tiny anyway. So you can see here, ripping around the UAVfutures test track. If you didn't know better, you could be mistaken for thinking, look, this might be a little bit slower. This might be just some 5 inch footage of Stuart coasting around. But no, this thing, it's a tiny little 3 inch, ripping around the course, taking names, trying to do a bit of a power lift there. And I got to say, it does it pretty well. For a little 3 inch drone, this thing absolutely rips. Now, the people I think this is going to be perfect for, you might have a small park, or, you might not have a big space, and this thing is a lot less intimidating. You just want something you can take out, rip around, hit tiny gaps with, and then still punch the throttle when you want to and do an actual bit of racing, because I'm sure I could race around Trevor and Cal, even when they're on their 5 inches, and it would still make for some very, very fun and close racing. So look, I'm a big fan. This thing's got power to boot and is a lot of fun. Bit of a crash right there. All right, we just ripped it around. Actually, that thing was crazy fast and pretty smooth. What we're gonna do, we're gonna hand it over to Crash Test Cal, see what he thinks as well. But yeah, so far that was pretty awesome on it for us. All right, let's do it, see what Cal thinks. Also, that's the Sparrow. What do you reckon? I guess before you fly it. Well, you just saw it ripping around. What did you think of it in the air?
That was crazy. That was really crazy. Look, it's a beautiful little rig. It looks like it's well appointed, and the way it handles is just amazing. These little motors are just so notchy and tight and powerful.
Yeah, well, they're actually the biggest motors I've seen on a 3 inch of that size. They're 1408.
They were powerful. This thing was ripping like a 5 inch. There's no doubt about that. Even it was way more maneuverable than a 5 inch, and it had the speed to match. So it was really impressive. This is more impressive than the Lizard, that's for sure. These things just keep getting better and better.
All right, let's do it. Let's put it up in the air and see what you think.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, Cal, let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Ooh, this has got some, it's got some poke for a little, a little racer. The battery's squealing already. Man, this is very maneuverable. I can't get it going quite like you had it going, Stu. Did you have a better battery?
Maybe. I did change the battery out.
Yeah.
I put on one of Jono's batteries.
Just like, the only thing I don't like about these small micros is when you come out of a dive and you're coming fast at the ground, it's very hard to pull up.
Yeah, yep.
And that's the only thing I don't like about them. There's nothing wrong with the speed on this aircraft, that's for sure. It's quick. It's oh, I just lost everything. Do you see where it went?
Yeah, just over there.
I just lost everything.
You reckon that battery was cooked?
I don't know, I lost all vision.
It's one of those dog comms, so I don't know if it's any good or not.
So what just happened there, Cal?
I have no idea. I just lost all my video feed and it just went straight down. So I'm not sure if it was some kind of critical area with the flight controller or the whole system or what?
You lost everything. She took the cord out. That is warm.
So what
It
happened?
didn't blow the battery out.
No, battery's fine. It's not even puffy. It's just hot.
It didn't disconnect though. Is that what happened?
Disconnect.
In midair?
Might have been crashed. Might have been midair. Hard to tell.
It might have been midair. Okay, we probably disconnected the battery in midair.
All right, show us what happened. How does that? Do I need to put a better battery on there? How hot is that one? Yeah, that's a bit puffy.
Warm.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a take 2, Cal. We're going to put on a bit of a better battery. So you hold that. I'll get you a new battery.
I hadn't actually given those dog comms a good run.
All right.
They're like, yeah.
They're not cheap, those batteries. Where did I see them? On Buzz Hobby or somewhere, and they weren't cheap.
Yeah.
I thought about trying them, but
Good for one motor.
Was there any damage or anything like that actually in that crash?
Check your props. I don't even think they're banned.
No.
nothing.
All right, looks good. Let's put this battery on and do it again.
I'll be all right.
All right, yep, let's do it. All right, how's that feel with that battery, Cal?
It feels a lot better. It's got more grunt, and it's a quick little machine.
Any oscillations or anything like that?
I'm not getting any. It's very smooth, so from that standpoint, it's much better than the Lizard from the get-go, because I had some oscillation problem with that. See, nothing is required. This thing's all ready to go.
What would you give this, I guess, out of 10 in terms of performance when you're flying this around versus the other 3 inches that you've flown?
Relative to everything else, I'd have to give it a 10. I can't warm up to the 3 inches just yet. Like I said, I don't like the power they have when you come out of a dive and you've really got to pour on the sticks to stop from hitting the ground.
Well, give it a little bit, Cal. Oh gosh, there's no OSD actually, so careful of that battery. You might want to bring that in.
Look, it's a handful. It's a monster for a 3 inch. There's no doubt about it.
All right, here it comes. Pop, pop. All right, Cal, so what's your overall thoughts of the Sparrow?
A very well put together quad. It's got great motors. It's got great design.
How was the FPV camera? Clean feed or any issues?
No, there was no problem with the feed. The video feed was very good. For anyone that likes flying 3 inches, you're going to like this, I guarantee it. The Lizard was my favorite up until this, but I think this is a much better quad than the Lizard.
Yep.
It's just as quick, it's more agile, there's no teething problems, there's no flight oscillation, there's no tuning the heads or anything. It just goes great straight out of the box. The only other thing that might be good with this is if it had an OSD, but I guess you could always add one if you...
Yeah, that's what I said in my part 1 review, that if we just change the camera out and put a different one, I think that would make it much better.
Yeah.
But it'd be good if it did. I agree, it would be good if it came just straight out of the box like that with an OSD.
Otherwise, you've got to just have really good ears to hear that little beeper as it's flying around,
yep.
And you'll be right.
All right, nice. Thanks, Cal. Got any messages for the slacker, grumpy Trev?
Trev, get off your ass and come on a road trip. I think you're scared to go on a road trip, mate. That's why you're out of here, isn't it? That's why you're lawn bowling with Devon sandwiches.
Hey, don't knock the Devon.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's my part 2 review of GepRC's Little Sparrow, and overall this one's really simple. It's a fun little micro-sized 3-inch racer that packs an absolute wallop, and it's great just to rip around or even do some acro with. So overall, I'm a big fan, but it's running up to some stiff competition as well. I'll leave a link up here to that the XJB, which had a stupid name. But anyway, the XJB, which was a little bit cheaper, felt very, very similar, and that one had an OSD where this one doesn't. Now, probably the biggest difference between the two, this one I would say feels like it has more power. The motors are a little bit bigger versus the other one, but overall, both of these things are going to be a ton of fun. Whether you get this one, whether you get the XJB, overall, if you just want a little 3-inch racer you can rip around, have an awesome time with, maybe you've got a heap of 5 inches, you just want to have some fun, some 3-inch action, this is definitely a fun bad boy to get, especially considering, look, with winter coming to a lot of people, something like this you might be flying in smaller spaces, this thing might be a fantastic choice. Anyway, what do you guys think? Drop some comments down below, leave some comments for Grumpy Trev the slacker, because you know he wasn't there when we're filming this one. Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying! Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.